Most people think love is supposed to be easy, smooth, predictable, maybe even a little boring if we're being honest. But here's the twist: the very things we try to avoid, the mess, the uncertainty, the risk, are exactly what give love its power. Strange, right? The chaos is what makes it real. Without it, love is just a pretty word on a greeting card. Now picture this: under the glow of an enchanted moon, a cat named Jack, sleek and sharp-eyed, steps into a world where every shadow hides a secret. His journey isn't about soft purrs or playful whiskers. It's about decoding whispers of destiny, stumbling on truths no one else dared to see, and facing trials that would break most hearts. Sounds dramatic? It is, but that's the point. Because Jack's story is really a reflection of ours. Think about it. How many times have you believed a setback was the end, when in reality it was the setup for something greater? What if the heartbreaks you've carried weren't curses, but carefully designed tests, meant to prepare you for a deeper kind of love, the kind that bends and stretches but refuses to break? That's the paradox no one tells you: love doesn't come as a prize at the end of the journey. Love is the journey, and here's the catch: you can't step into Jack's path without being changed yourself. This isn't just his story, it's a mirror. The real question isn't whether he survives the trials. The question is, when you see yourself in his struggle, will you? Nobody really noticed him at first. He was just a cat, sleek fur, curious. Green eyes, the kind of animal you'd expect to see stretching lazily on a windowsill or chasing dust motes in the sunlight. But isn't it funny how the things we dismiss as ordinary often end up holding the keys to the extraordinary? This cat wasn't just there to decorate the background. He was the thread in the fabric that everyone had overlooked, the one detail hiding in plain sight. And let's be honest, how many times in life do we ignore the quiet people, the subtle signs, only to realize later they were the missing piece we desperately needed? Jack, that was his name, didn't crash into the story with fanfare or fireworks. No, he slipped in like a whisper, subtle and unassuming. Think of those friendships you stumble into by chance, the coworker you never planned to talk to who later became the person that saved you from burnout, or that random book you picked up at an airport that ended up shifting the way you see life. That's the kind of presence Jack brought. He was quiet, but essential. A reminder that allies don't always arrive wearing capes. Sometimes, they show up with paws and whiskers. The more time passed, the clearer it became that Jack wasn't simply tagging along, he was guiding. Picture a chessboard. While everyone else was focused on the king and queen, Jack was the knight, slipping between spaces in unexpected ways, opening doors nobody else even knew existed. It's like in business too. People obsess over the obvious moves: marketing, profit, visibility, while ignoring the small, subtle details that actually determine whether the strategy wins or fails. Jack embodied that same principle. The subtle move that changes everything. And here's the kicker: the mission, as complicated as it was, would have collapsed without him. The ones who thought they were in control weren't seeing the whole picture. But Jack was. He picked up signals others missed, moved in places others feared, and leaned into instincts that humans often suppress. His role, once invisible, was becoming undeniable. Yet, what nobody realized was that his presence was about to unlock a layer of truth far stranger than anyone dared imagine. It started with small things, the kind you'd brush off if you weren't paying attention. A scratch on an old wooden door, a pattern left in the dust by tiny paws, a faint sound echoing in the stillness of the night. To anyone else, they were nothing. But Jack? He treated every detail like a breadcrumb leading somewhere bigger. And isn't that how life works? The answers we crave rarely come in neon lights. They show up as whispers, scattered pieces of a puzzle waiting for someone patient enough to connect them. Jack was that someone. The beauty of it was that he didn't force discovery, he invited it. He'd nudge a book off a shelf, and there it was, an envelope tucked inside the pages, filled with cryptic codes. He'd scratch at a brick wall until a hidden compartment revealed itself. And while others thought it was coincidence, Jack moved with the confidence of someone who knew there's no such thing as random. It's like when you're reading a mystery novel, maybe the Da Vinci Code or The Silent Patient, and you realize the author has been feeding you hints the whole time. Jack was playing the same game, except the story was real. Here's the thing: humans often miss what's right in front of them because they're looking for the dramatic. We want fireworks, bold signs, some grand revelation. But most breakthroughs happen in silence. A casual word from a friend, a half-forgotten note in a journal, an overheard conversation that changes your path entirely. I remember once finding a sticky note buried in an old planner, something I'd written years earlier. It wasn't profound, just a phrase. Yet in that moment, it hit me like lightning, reshaping the way I saw the challenge I was facing. Jack lived in that space, the small clue that shifts everything, and with every clue uncovered, the bigger picture began to emerge. The hidden codes weren't just random scribbles, they carried messages layered with meaning, like someone, or something, was orchestrating a game far larger than the mission itself. Jack was peeling back the curtain, and what lay behind it wasn't just mystery. It was conspiracy. His instincts weren't just exposing secrets, they were pulling threads that others had carefully tried to hide. And once you pull a thread long enough, the whole fabric starts to unravel. The unraveling began in the most unplanned way, like fate decided to trip the wire just to see who would notice. Jack crossed paths with the very person meant to stay hidden, and in that fleeting moment, the conspiracy started to collapse. Isn't it wild how life works like that? You can plan, strategize, rehearse every move, but then one small, unintended encounter flips the board upside down. It's like bumping into an old friend at the airport and realizing that meeting changes the entire trajectory of your life. That's exactly what happened here. Chance, but not really chance. Jack wasn't chasing glory or even hunting answers. He was simply following his instincts. Yet that instinct led straight to the heart of the secret that had been kept locked away. One sharp look, one quiet hiss, and suddenly layers of deception peeled back like old wallpaper. And here's the lesson: sometimes, it's not the big moves that alter destiny, but the accidental ones. Think of Steve Jobs stumbling into a calligraphy class that eventually shaped the typography of Apple computers. At the time, it seemed like a detour. Later, it became the cornerstone of innovation. Jack's encounter carried that same weight. What no one expected was how quickly the dominoes began to fall. The codes, the whispers, the hidden trails, they all made sense now, pointing not just to a hidden truth, but to a massive web of lies carefully spun to control outcomes. And here's where it gets personal. We all have moments like that, when a truth we've ignored or overlooked suddenly stares us in the face. It might be painful, it might shatter illusions, but it's also liberating. Because once you see the truth, you can't unsee it. Jack, without meaning to, forced everyone to see, and yet, the irony of it all? Jack was never supposed to be part of the mission. He wasn't chosen, trained, or expected to play any role at all. He was just a cat in the shadows, until he wasn't. Fate had twisted the story, pulling him to the center of the stage, where his presence exposed not only the conspiracy but the fragility of the entire mission. The unexpected ally had become the critical key, and the question that lingered was this: if fate could use something so unassuming to unravel such a complex scheme, what else might it be planning, hidden just beyond the edge of sight? So here's the truth: what you've just witnessed isn't only Jack's story. It's a reminder that the unexpected ally, the hidden clue, and the twist of fate aren't just parts of a mystery, they're the same forces shaping your life right now. The real question is, are you paying attention? Or are you brushing off the signs, waiting for fireworks while the whispers of change are already right in front of you? Think about it. What ordinary thing in your day could be carrying extraordinary meaning? Maybe it's a casual conversation you're not taking seriously, a book collecting dust on your shelf, or even that gut feeling you've been ignoring. What if those are your hidden codes, waiting for you to decode them? If Jack taught us anything, it's that nothing is random, and the smallest detail can shift the course of the mission. Now, let me challenge you. What thread in your life is waiting to be pulled? What secret could completely transform the way you see your path? Sometimes, the only difference between being stuck and moving forward is daring to notice what others overlook. And maybe, just maybe, that overlooked clue is sitting right in front of you tonight. If you're ready to catch those signs, to sharpen your vision, and to never miss the next twist of fate, then stay with me. Hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and keep walking this path with us. Because the next story might not just entertain you, it might just change the way you see your own life.